and that's the whole premise of my book, is that not to challenge the system in a full frontal attack. It's to very subversively undermine the system by removing ourselves from it, to create voluntary cooperatives where we share and grow food together, share resources together, remove ourselves from the banking system, remove ourselves from the credit system, remove ourselves from the military-industrial.
And we've got to do it quick, because
that's why I published it online. Mm-hmm. That's why I didn't go through a publisher, so it can get into as many people's hands as possible, and to create communities in cooperation with each other to remove ourselves from their systems. And it won't matter.
And they will be assaulted. The outside enemy will find excuses to get in. That's why they assault anything that tries to, humans get their backs together and try to defend themselves like cows do when wolves come. Cows will get in a circle.
Right.
And try to protect the calves.
That's why they're trying to keep us divided, so we can't get together and figure out what they're doing to us. And like you said, it's divide and conquer. It's what we've been doing throughout history and occupations. It's what we're currently doing in Iraq and Afghanistan and Pakistan. Do you think Pakistan is an existential threat to the United States? No, what they're doing is further destabilizing that government.
I agree. Stay there. Globalist controlled forces on record are there trying to destabilize Pakistan.
Everything we said came true. Everything we've done's been right.
Cindy Sheehan with us for another 22 minutes or so. I want to go to Saeed, Ian, Aaron, Jonathan, Morgan, and many others here in just a moment. Cindy, you got cut off a couple breaks ago, and you were about to get to a story dealing with the whole left-right paradigm and how they were trying to buy you off, and how the Democrats, wanted you to just go quietly into the night, and then we hit that break. I mean, that is such an important point here, that we've gone from these self-righteous Democrats are going to end this war,
right.
and now Rahm Emanuel and his brother, he's now calling the big Hollywood mogul in the news today, arrogantly brags, oh, look at how I suckered the Democrats, and how they really kept anti-war Democrats from winning.
Oh, absolutely. Rahm Emanuel, one case in point is Christine Segalis in Illinois. She ran against Henry Hyde as a Democrat in 2004 and almost won. She wanted to run again, but she was absolutely anti-war. So Rahm flew in Tammy Duckworth, a disabled Iraq veteran, to run against her, beat Segalis in the primaries, but she was beaten by the Republicans. So, and then the DCCC dumped a lot of money into Tammy Duckworth's campaign to beat Christine Segalis, who would have been an anti-war Democrat. So the Democrats used and betrayed the anti-war movement to get in power. And Democrats told me to my face, Alex, many of them on Capitol Hill, if you get us in power, if you help get us in power, Cindy, because they knew the energy of my movement was powerful. They knew that their base was anti-war. Their base wasn't just anti-Bush. Their base was anti-war. So they abused the energy of the anti-war movement, betrayed it, got into power, and did nothing. And then after they were in power in 2007, you know what those same people told me? Help us elect more Democrats, Cindy. And that's when I said, oh, this is just bull crap. They're never gonna be happy unless it's 100% democratically controlled, which I think is tyranny. I think that
even if the two parties are almost completely controlled, only having a one party, then you really are in trouble.
I think that the more parties, the more healthy our democracy would be. Our democracy is sick. Our democracy is on life support right now because of the corporate control of both of the parties. Barack Obama and I almost said Rahm Emanuel and John McCain, they got money from the same people. So whoever won the election in 2008, the robber class would win and we would lose. No matter who won, we lost. Even if you voted for the candidate that won, I hate to tell you this, but you lost.
Cindy Sheehan, what do you see happening to our republic in the future?
We're going to go through some very tough economic times, unfortunately. I don't think it's going to get any better until it gets a lot worse. And if it does get better, then what is our country going to look like? Is it going to be looking like 1984 or Brave New World? Or is it going to look like a country that is broken up into smaller pieces, which I think would be better, would be more manageable? Is that going to happen with violence? Is it going to happen peacefully? I really don't know, but that's why I'm out on tour, Alex. I have 3 surviving children, one grandchild, he's 1 year old, and one on the way, and I could take my kids and I could practice what I know. We could start our own little community that's self-sustaining, off the grid and things like that. But I want to go around the country and I want to encourage people to work together to thrive through the coming collapse of the empire. I'm glad the empire is collapsing.
It's collapsing because the people running it are so greedy.
Right.
They're eating themselves.
Right.
They're destroying the goose that laid all these eggs because their nature is just hyper corrupt.
We could voluntarily give it up, as the robber class could voluntarily give up the empire, but that's not going to happen. Like you said, they're so greedy. They're so greedy, they don't care what's going to happen with their children and grandchildren. I care about their children and grandchildren as well as I care about my children and grandchildren. So we have to create these communities to be able to survive.
I want to go to calls, but briefly, tell me more about your idea, because I think true diversity, I'm not against the Free State Project, but everybody going to one state, that's a decent idea because I guess they can try to take the state back over and, have kind of a libertarian idea. That's wonderful. But I think it's better just to have lots of true diverse ideas, lots of communities everywhere to be examples to others.
Right.
And all sorts of true diversity, true liberty, out there. And to defeat the globalists, they can always go after one state or one group or one idea or one leader.
Right.
But if we have the opposite of the cookie cutter, all of this, the words diversity again, going in different angles and directions, there's no way for them to compute, no way for them to counter, no way for them to demonize, no way for them to set up. And if good people will just stop looking for leaders, even Cindy Sheehan or Alex Jones or Ron Paul, but look to themselves to start something now. Just do it, as they say. Start taking action in some way. Doesn't mean you have all the answers. Doesn't mean you're perfect. Doesn't mean you're going to do it all right. But at least you're standing up.
And doing something. And that's my whole premise, is that it's not as effective for one person or a couple of people to do a lot. It's more effective for everybody to do something. And then working together, community-based. And as well as I, that in the summer of 2005, not only was our movement co-opted, but I was also set up. Right? I was set up because they saw when I was going to start retaining my integrity and speaking out against the policies and the principles instead of just George Bush, that they had to, what the favorite slur from the so-called left is to me? I'm too radical. So they don't have to listen to me because I'm an extremist. So they tried to make me look crazy. They tried to make me look, mentally unstable because of my son's death, irrational. And that was as much the left as it was the right, because the media is just part of the robber class. And like I said, there's no left, right, or Democratic, Republican paradigm. Look at the media is giving Obama practically a free pass. They haven't covered me and my opposition to Obama, but when I went down to Dallas the other day, we were everywhere in the news about our protests against George Bush. Why is that? Because
they want to make it a left-right issue. They want to have it the liberal, Sheehan is against Bush, to remind folks it's the bad Bush.
Right.
They don't want to show you going up against Obama and shattering that left-right paradigm. Yeah, tell folks briefly what happened with Bush.
When we were down there?
Yeah, in Dallas.
Well, we had about 100 people just marched for accountability, and we had about 12 pro-Bush people on the other side of the street. I thought that was very interesting because it was in his neighborhood, and only 12 of his neighbors came out. But we got a lot of press coverage from that, and it was good press coverage because they said accountability. They said Cindy Sheehan and the people with her want a special prosecutor. They actually did cover what we were saying instead of, the style. They were covering the substance, which I was very surprised about, especially being in Dallas.
Well, I mean, that is a positive thing, and I think that's because a lot of the media internally are upset. A lot of them are moral. They're just told what to say and what to do. And more as they say no, and more as they do little things to get the truth out, I think that's what's going to bring them down.
Well, and I do want to, did I say it on the air? Did I tell you when we were off the air that my radio show is going to be on in Dallas?
Yeah, you were telling me it's Sundays, and give us the website for your...
The radio show's in Dallas Sunday at 3 on Rational Radio. That's AM 1360. And then my show can also be heard on the internet at cindysheehansoapbox.com. And people can order a copy of my book, Myth America, from cindysheehansoapbox.com. It's just for a minimum $10 donation. I got several orders last night after I was on Jason's show, so I appreciate it.
Oh, good. People need to support you, folks, and that's what this is about. If you want to see Cindy be able to keep going around the country pointing out the hypocrisy of Obama and the Republicans, then go to the website and get this great ebook and show it to your friends and family, and also tell folks about our radio show. Again, plug the website again.
cindysheehansoapbox.com.
cindysheehansoapbox.com. And how many pages is the book?